All right, lesson 28, I will transition from four partial products to the standard algorithm for two-digit by two-digit multiplication. So today we're going to transition away from partial products fully into standard algorithm for two-digit by two-digit multiplication. We started it in lesson 37, and today we're going to fully transition. It's going to have plenty of practice for us. All right, so this is pretty much like what we did in lesson 37. We have 54 times 23. So we have 54 times 3, and we have 54 times 20. So, and you can see here we've got some distributive property here, and we've got 23 times 54. So this would be 3 54s and 20 54s, because it's basically 54 times 3, 54 times 20. So 54 times 3 is 54 3 times, and 54 20 times. So that's what this means. So now when we do 54 times 3, so we've got 3 times 54, and then we've got 20 times 54. So if you remember, when we first do this, we're kind of going to pretend that this 2's not even here. And we're going to do 54 times 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because you have to use some regrouping. So I have to carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Now, I have to go up here and draw a line through this 1 because that 1 is no longer valid. I don't need it anymore. If I leave that 1 there, I'm going to get the next part wrong, because now I'm going to do 54 times 20. So I don't need that 1 anymore. So remember, we're pretending that this 3 is a 0. So I'm going to do 54 times 20. I have to put down my 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so you can see if you thought that that 1 was part of this problem and you added it, you would have 11 here, and that would get you the wrong answer. So now I'm going to add these two partial products together. That gives me 2. 14, carry the 1, which is 2. I have 1,242. Now it says, express 46 and 54 as two partial products. Oops, that looks weird. Okay, express 46 times 54 as two partial products using the distributive property. So we're going to do the exact same thing, only this time it's 54 times 46. All right, so 46 times 54. So if you look over here, this is 54 times 6. So I have 6 54s, and I have 40 54s. All right, so this is 6 times 54, 40 times 54. Now I'm going to do 54 times 6. So remember, I'm pretending that this 4 isn't here. So 4 times 6 is 24. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32. Now it's really important that you mark this out. That's no longer valid, because now I'm going to do 54 times 40. So I'm pretending that this 6 is actually a 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my 0. 4 times 4 is 16. This time I'm carrying a 1. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. So now when I add, I have 4, 8, 4, and 2. 2,484. So this part can get a little bit confusing. So if you're still a little bit confused, give yourself a break and just hang in there and keep focusing and working really, really hard. You may have to go back and look at this a couple of times until you get it right. There's a reason why adults use this strategy and kids don't at first. There's a reason why we save this strategy for last, because it's a little bit confusing. It's much faster. It's much more efficient. That's why we're learning it, but it does take a little bit of practice. All right, so now we're going to do 55 times 47, and this time we get to label the area model for ourselves. So we've got 54 times 47. So we're going to do 47, and then we're going to do 50. I think I was saying 54. I meant 55. 55. So this is, oops, I see what I did. I do that every time. I really want the small number on top. It doesn't really matter in your area model, but it just makes more sense. So we are doing 5 times 47, and we are doing 50 times 47. So 5 times 47, 50 times 47. So let's do 47 times 5. So 7 times 5 is 35. Now remember, we're not looking at this 5 yet. So now I'm doing 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. So now I'm going to mark out this 3. I don't need that anymore. And now I'm going to do times 50. So I'm pretending that this is actually a 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my 0 here. I'm going to do 5 times 7, which is 35. 4 times 5, which is 20, plus 3 is 23. So obviously I got the same answer plus 0 because they're both 5s. And now when I add, I have 5 plus 0 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. 2 plus 3 is 5. And 2. So 2,585. So this is standard algorithm. So when you master this, you'll be multiplying just like your parents. All right, so let's take a look at this one. They've taken away the area model now, and we're just using two partial products. So I've got 58 times 45. So this is 5 times 58, 40 times 58. So when I do 58 times 5, I'm pretending this 4 isn't here, and I'm doing 8 times 5, which is 40. 5 times 5, which is 25, plus 4, which is 29. Okay, now I'm going to pretend like the 5, I'm going to mark this out because I don't need that anymore. I'm pretending like this is a 0. And I'm doing 58 times 40. So I'll go ahead and put down my 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23. So when I add this together, I have 0, 11, 6, and 2. I have 2,610. All right? Now we're going to use the multiplication algorithm again. So this is 82 times 5, or 5 times 82, and then we're doing 50 times 82. So try this one by yourself. If you get stuck, you can always press play, but see if you can go ahead and get started. All right? So 2 times 5 is 10. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 1 is 41. So I'm going to mark out this. I don't need that anymore. And now I'm going to do 82 times 50. Which I already know it's going to give me the exact same answer because I just did 82 times 5. I'm just going to put down the 0. So I'm going to have 2 zeros this time and a 4 because 2 times 5 is 10, 8 times 5 is still 40, plus 1 is 41. So I'm going to add this together. I get 4,510. Okay, so this is a tricky strategy. That is why it's the very last lesson in this module, and it is. The good thing about this strategy is your parents can definitely help you with it because this is the strategy that they use. If you get confused, come back and look at your journal and come back and look at your problem set because they can both help you. Okay, so let's do 53 times 63. So 53 times 63. It wouldn't matter if you put the 63 or the 53 on top, but I just put the 53 first. So this is 3 times 53, and it is 60 times 53. And we're going to add these two partial products together. So I'm going to start with 3 times 53. 3 times 3 is 9. And 50 times 3 is 150, or 15 in this case. We'll add that to the 9. And then I'm going to go ahead and remember I'm pretending that this is a 0. So 53 times 60, I'm going to go ahead and put my 0 first. And then 3 times 6 is 18. I'm going to carry the 1. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1 is 31. When I add this together, I have 9, 13, 3, and 3. So it's 3,339. I know that's a little bit crooked, but all right, so let's go back and take a look at our last problem for today. And we have 84 times 73. I want you to try to do this problem all by yourself. If you get stuck, you can always come back and check with me. But just pause the video and try to do it by yourself. All right, so I've got 84 times 73. Oops. Okay, so this is 3 times 84, and it is 70 times 84. Okay, so let's do 84 times 3. So 4 times 3 is 12, and I'm going to carry the 1. And then I have 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So I have 252. I'm going to mark out this 1. I don't want to get it confused. And now I'm going to do 84 times 70. Remember, I'm pretending this 3 is a 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my 0. And now I'm just thinking of this as 84 times 7. So 4 times 7 is 28. 8 times 7 is 56. Plus 2 is 58. I'm going to add these together. And I get 6,132. Remember, if you get stuck today when you're doing your exit slip, just come back and look at your problem set, and don't forget to do the practice. Don't go right to your exit slip. Stop and do the practice and then do the exit slip. The practice will help you with your exit slip.